In the previous video, we discussed past mass extinctions, and also the sign of a future mass extinction. Today we will find out how we can survive that mass extinction. So let's get on with it. Survivors of mass extinctions are in a pretty elite club, and unlike today's doomsayers, they didn't have guns, bomb shelters, or food storage to help them out. What is it they were doing right? To answer this question, let's look at Lystrosaurus, one of the greatest survivors of all time. This creature was a part of the lucky group that survived the Permian event, which, if you recall, killed 96% of all species on Earth. Especially surprising is that Lystrosaurus wasn't a tiny algae or insect. It was a mammal-like reptile about the size of a pig, basically the only animal of its kind to dodge extinction. Lystrosaurus had a number of things going for it. One was that it was a burrower, as any survivalist worth his or her salt can tell you. The underground is a pretty good place to be when something bad happens. Plus, breathing underground was good form during the Permian event, when low oxygen levels and dusty airborne contaminants became the norm. Another tool in Lystrosaurus's survival kit was its ability to move and spread out over great distances. When things got bad, the creature was evidently capable of waddling to safer climes, eventually inhabiting areas all over Earth's supercontinent, Pangaea. And how was it able to adapt to so many places? A big reason is that it was a generalist species, meaning, among other things, that it wasn't a picky eater. Although it ate only plants, its beak-like mouth was equally effective at chomping down rough vegetation and digging for roots. Other species have survived mass extinctions by virtue of their small size. Obviously, little creatures don't need as much food as their larger counterparts. Think mice versus elephants. They also tend to reproduce more, which gives them a larger, more genetically varied population that can adapt more quickly and effectively to change. In a lot of ways, mass extinction survival just came down to luck. Certain species had certain traits that helped them endure whatever awful things befell the Earth. So is the survival of the human race really just a game of chance? When most people think about survival, they think about things like personal protection, emergency shelters, and food preservation. Sure, that stuff might help in the short term, but this is a mass extinction we're talking about. You can't dehydrate enough food to last 2 million years. Instead, it's going to take some serious, long-term changes in human behavior and technology to survive something like that. While humans have never had to survive a big five-style extinction, we certainly have displayed some qualities needed to do so. Remember Lystrosaurus, which was able to spread across the globe and adapt to various climates and food sources. We did that 260,000 to 130,000 years ago. Members of the Homo sapiens species departed their African homeland, eventually inhabiting almost every continent. Guesses about what spurred this migration range from massive drought to a volcanic eruption. Regardless of what happened, this example shows that even if hardship forces us to pack up and move, we can still survive and even flourish. Of course, our greatest advantage over all previous species is, you guessed it, technology. What if the climate begins killing our crops? Perhaps we can genetically engineer our food to be hardier. What if a large asteroid is on a collision course with Earth? Maybe we can land a spacecraft on it and push it away. Some of the most fascinating extinction-dodging research is in geoengineering, a field in which scientists study ways to control our climate with technology. Imagine floating arrays of mirrors that deflect sunlight to cool the planet, or artificial trees that pull carbon dioxide out of the air and inject it underground. As crazy as it sounds, these and other solutions are possible, and they might even work. But what if they don't? There's only one other option, really, and that's to go live somewhere else. Not another city, country, or continent, but another world entirely. Scientists have long dreamed of building structures designed to mimic Earth's conditions on other planets, and some have even suggested that we could geoengineer the whole planet to function like our own. But before we wander too far into sci-fi movie territory, let's have a reality check. Do we really want to rely on untested technology to save us? Perhaps, as the next section suggests, we should try to prevent this sixth big mass extinction from getting even worse. If human-caused climate change ultimately brings on the sixth big mass extinction, we wouldn't be the first creatures to cause such an event. About 2.5 billion years ago, a microbe called cyanobacteria became the first organism to photosynthesize, or use sunlight and water to create energy. Through this process, they also released a tremendous amount of oxygen, which ultimately killed off just about everything that couldn't breathe it. What do we humans have that cyanobacteria didn't? The presence of mind to head off the next mass extinction. All that geoengineering stuff sounds pretty amazing, but it raises some real concerns. For one, there will almost certainly be unintended consequences from large-scale climate experiments. But perhaps just as troubling is that we, as a society, might start counting on scientists to bail us out, when we might be better served taking action on our own. After all, if all of us are nudging the Earth toward a mass extinction, shouldn't we all be part of the solution? If we're going to try to stave off a mass extinction, the first thing we need to do is address human-caused climate change. Some scientists think we may have already passed the point of no return, but a 2014 report by the United Nations Environment Program and the World Resources Institute suggests there is still a glimmer of hope. In order to hold global warming under 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius, the standard they set to avoid dangerous climate change, we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a daunting 50% by 2050. How? For starters, combine trips in your car. Buy more efficient cars. Adjust your thermostat down in the winter and up in the summer. Bike to work. Recycle. These may seem like small changes, but if everyone pitched in, the effect would be huge. Take something as simple as a light bulb. If every American replaced one incandescent bulb with an Energy Star-rated one, the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions would be equivalent to taking 800,000 cars off the road. Another extinction maker is habitat loss. Reducing meat consumption would help out in a big way. Crops provide more calories per acre than livestock, so you can feed more people with less land. That's because you need land to grow livestock feed, in addition to the land needed to pasture the animals. Finally, there's the problem of poaching and overfishing. Don't buy products that come from endangered species, like ivory, and try to purchase seafood from sustainable fisheries. In the end, no one is sure how much we can do at this point. We've already changed our climate so much that these steps might only delay the inevitable. But to state the obvious, we're either going to have to try to prevent a mass extinction or cope with it. Here's to hoping we can make Listersaurus proud. I can't think of a heavier topic than mass extinction. Pondering the death of 75% of all species on Earth, possibly including your own, is a harrowing task for any author with a healthy sense of self-preservation. But among all the bad news, I think there are some positive things to take away from this video. Humans have always shown an incredible capacity to persevere when disaster strikes. And what's more, there are a lot of really smart people who are already thinking of ways to ensure our survival. Perhaps the alien race who discovers the smoking rubble that was planet Earth will read this sentence and laugh, but I don't think we'll go down without a fight. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.